Hey everyone, to recap, this is the second video in this series. I just want to cover this again as a very fast summary and then pick up from where we left off. The rabbit hole is getting deep, but the explanations are coming too. So, just to recap, we figured out how to beat expertise, authority, and trust. We did some sample sites and drove them up like crazy, all right, over the past several weeks. And we did it in different industries and different locations, just a few websites per location, but for different industries. And we got our point proven. We absolutely know what's going on. And we're at a point where now we're to like lawyer DUI hits are getting as high as like 700 hits in a week, okay? You know, and so we're just watching average weekly go up, and it's going to go up higher. This week right here, this last week that you've been seeing is going down, right? Except it's because this week's not over. It's like just over halfway through the week. Okay, so if anything, it's higher than the week before, but it's there for sure. All right, so don't misunderstand, this graph is dropping. It's not, it's rising. We were here, so we were doing what we were doing before, but then we went through the upgraded content that got us to here. So we understand now what we need to do. So as we extrapolate through all the websites on behalf of all you guys who have positions, all you guys who have flipping positions, DML positions, everything that's out there, we know where Google wants us to go now, and we made that happen, okay? And we proved it in many cases. And then a separate thing I want to also point out is we take sites like Theme to HTML. It's an older site, but we use it because we gathered so much domain rating. It's got a huge score for domain rating. So for backlinking purposes, if you scroll down, you're going to find like there are 800 websites in this list down low. Okay. Most of these follow to Theme to HTML to drive the juice in the Theme to HTML. Theme to HTML no follows out to most of these, but we follow out to about 100. They're the websites that we use to bolster our clients, okay? So we'll use 700 websites we created. When you create web pages, they have the right to create some juice. And when you take one page and backlink another, it can share some juice with that page to make that page a little stronger in terms of juice, which can share its juice with another page to make that page even stronger. So as you go through websites, you know, where you pool websites, you can pool link juice. So we get to control it. We created the flood, forced it in the Theme to HTML on the input side, and then set where the piping will go back out to our client sites, right? And I just want to show you, a guy paid me $300 for the privilege of sticking his link right here on this page, okay? That's for this guy here. He's got your ever so basic website, okay? It's like a three-man operation, I guess. They mount TVs, you know, in homes and stuff in New York City, and they do other things like that. But anyway, they're experts at what they do. Now, the point is this. He called me because he said, hey, I'm still not getting much traffic. And I knew that. He has, for years, he's never gotten traffic off his website. His domain rating is low, but it's coming up. Here's what I want to point out. We verified that, in fact, the link appeared as one of the backlink options for him. And then I got to show him this. It's huge, okay? This is his website, okay? So all these entries here are for him, okay? These are totally useful keywords. Look at that. TV wall mount company, wall mount TV service, TV mount professionals, wall mount installation service, da, 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 da. Okay? Totally useful keywords that definitely get volume. 20 hits a month, 150 hits a month, 20 hits a month, 100 hits a month, 90, 30, 50, 20, you know, it just goes on and on, right? Now, out of all that, and that's cost per click if he was paying for ads, right? Here's the point. He was at position 94 on the first keyword. Now he's at 18, so he's on page 2. He went from page 10 to page 2. He's rising. See, he rose above 76 other guys. Oops, sorry, pardon me. Let me squeeze through. Thank you. Please get out of my way. I'm rising up, right? And got up to page 18 so far, or position 18. So down at the bottom of the second page. He's got more to do. He only paid $300, you know, when he's climbing up from so low. But look at what $300 got him. 76 steps up on that one keyword, 71 on this, 57 on that, 56, 55, 55, 49, 48, 42, 40, right? Huge steps up. And that's only over 1 month. That's 11th of May 2024 to 11th of June 2024. Very, very recent, right? If you're watching this video here and now. So what's the point of all of that? To point out that, here's what I want to say about it. Let me see if I can get that close properly. Okay. We figured out expertise, authority, and trust in the way that Google wants to see. We figured out that we really want to do lawyer DUI for leads because they're going to pay the best, and there's so many. And when somebody gets a DUI ticket, they must get a lawyer and deal with it. And the more aggravated the circumstances, the more worthy the client is if we're pre-qualing the client, right? Or we can track the client's pre-qual. Then I pointed out that offers like from Offer Vault are not as good as they're cooked up to be. Mostly because some of these guys just aren't even there anymore. Like this $1,000 payout for motor vehicle accident. If you go to it and click run offer, 404 error. So the offer's down. And yet it's only been updated like today, apparently. Okay, last updated today. You know what that means? That some of the guys are taking their offers down. I think I know why. And aside from that, some of the other guys that are on the page are just not very good at what they do. Now, do not make the mistake of thinking that means that there's something wrong with the idea of selling the leads to companies. No way. All right, exponential growth of pay-per-call. Okay, the industry's on track to hit $12 billion in valuation by the turn of the year, with an annual growth rate nearing 16% now. You can bet it's climbing. And yes, pay-per-call is here to stay. It's here to stay. More companies are getting used to it, and they would rather pay-per-call than try to deal with Google ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, because the click fraud is so insanely rampant and really hurts, okay? But if they're going to get leads, they want those leads pre-qualified, okay? And we looked up the prices, like pre-qualified leads. How much does a DUI cost? $350 to $5K. If you talk to lawyers around here, they get about $3,000 for an average DUI case, $2,500, $3,000, sometimes more. But they only have to pay like $500 total to do all the work they need to do. That's like their time and research, and maybe make some standard payments to unlock some standard bits of information. It's like $500. So they make like $2,500 on a sale. So they are willing to pay like $500 for a lead that's halfway decent, that might convert, but they got to blah, 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 try to sell themselves instead of let the guy call another lawyer to see if they can offer a better deal. Okay. But if we can pre-qualify, and they can therefore know who they're going to talk to and know how that can turn out and know what it's worth before they even decide to talk to the guy. They know whether the guy's a fit for them, whether the case is a more aggravated or less aggravated. You know, if it wasn't just a DUI, if there was damaged property, that's worth a lot more because the lawyer's going to wind up having to work more hours and deal with more things to defend his client. If somebody got hurt, okay, or people got hurt, that's worth a lot to a lawyer. You know, if somebody dies, God forbid, or people die, it's worth a lot to a lawyer. A lot more, right? The cases are huge, right? So you can bet lawyers are willing to take anything if they're hungry and they are low on leads. So if we're contacting different lawyers in a given area, because we're getting all these hits, look at this. Lawyer DUI, last week we had 700 hits to the website spread across 3 cities. It's like almost 250 is like 240 clicks onto the website per city for our projects. If that's 24 calls at an average of low end, $200 and it's split 50-50, it's like $2,400 on your position for the week. If you had a position for like San Francisco, $2,400 for a week on your San Francisco position. I think a San Francisco DUI position is like $7,600 total for the year. Okay. Now I'm getting to the part where all this is going to match up because I was going back to the offer places. I talked to some of these guys and thought, no, screw that. We're going to go around them because I found something else out. Okay. And that led me to what? Oh, by the way, it's better than vehicle injury. Vehicle injury is like 100 to 350 or more per lead. It could be more. It could be like 300 to 1,500. Again, if the lead's pre-qualified, it's worth a lot more, right? Because otherwise, a lot of people want to go, well, my elbow hurts from resting it on the table when I type, and they want to see if they can get out of work. But a DUI has to happen. That's a legal requirement. You go get a DUI, you're going to go in front of a judge, right? Basically, always. Okay, now having said all that, I've got to get back to the here and now. I showed you a recording in part 1. I'm going to show you a much longer one now. It is a prequel for accident attorneys. And I bullshitted the entire thing. You'll hear. As a matter of fact, when I called the demo, I wasn't even sure what was going to happen. I didn't know on the demo if somebody was going to be selling ice to the Eskimos or tea to the Chinese or bubble gum to the guys in the Lockjaw Ward at Bellevue. I didn't know what to expect. It caught me completely off guard. But I did my best. And you've got to listen to this. It's about 8.5 minutes. And then we're going to talk about the absolute insane meaning of it to us. What it has to do with us. All right? So put on your thinking caps. Listen to this call. Then we'll discuss.
Hello, this is James with the National Injury Group. Are you calling about an auto accident?
Yeah, I'm calling about an auto accident. Actually, it's a really good point. So I've got a broken leg.
Got it. I just wanted to confirm you were involved in a motor vehicle accident recently. Is that right? I'm so sorry to hear that you've got a broken leg. That must be really tough for you.
Yeah, you're right. It was tough. The driver came out of nowhere and hit me, but he was a delivery driver for, Pizza Hut.
Wow. I am super sorry to hear that. I definitely want to see if we can get an attorney fighting on your behalf. A licensed attorney can possibly help. Get any medical bills covered as well as win compensation for any pain and suffering you may have experienced. Can you tell me when the accident occurred?
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago, back in the Midwest, around Notre Dame in the Michiana area, so somewhere between South Bend and Niles. I could pinpoint the location again on a map.
Thank you. And were you at fault for the accident? Did you cause the accident, or did the other person, the Pizza Hut delivery driver, cause it?
The Pizza Hut delivery driver caused it, but he's going to want to say it was my fault. But I was a pedestrian on the side of the street, on the sidewalk, and he came up over the curb in his car.
Great. And just want to confirm, you don't already have an attorney working with you on this case. Is that correct? I'm really glad you're taking steps to get help, by the way. It sounds like a really scary and frustrating experience.
Yeah, you're right. That was tough. I mean, he drove off. His whole thing was get the pizza there in, 30 minutes or he loses his tip. So he drove off. I just remembered his license. Later he said he didn't see me. So there wasn't any webcam proof or anything. No, I'm not working with a lawyer yet, but I'd love to. I kind of thought it was healing up, but it's really been a pain. Yeah, anyway, so somebody in the family just kept telling me I should be calling you.
Okay, thank you. So based on what you have told me, I think one of our attorneys may be able to assist with your case. You won't pay anything unless the attorney helps win you compensation. I'll reach out to our network and have them get in touch shortly. But really quick, in the meantime, I actually want to get just a bit more information to make sure we can help you as fast as possible start fighting for the compensation you deserve. So can you explain and walk me through how the accident happened?
Yeah. I was just out walking on the road. It was kind of early in the evening. The sun was going down. It was nice and comfortable. Kind of, about mealtime for everybody, I guess. It must have been around 9 p.m. or so, but in the summertime. And so I didn't think too much about it. And I heard this guy screech, and I turned around just in time for his bumper to come up and over and clip my leg, knock me down. I kind of fell to the side of the car. He slowed down a little bit, but then just sped right back up. As he was taking off, I caught the make, model, and the, part of the license plate. I was able to, recognize the car and chase it, track it anyway. It had a Pizza Hut logo thing on the top, so it was really easy to tell. And it was the only Pizza Hut.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That must have been really traumatic for you. Okay, so just to clarify, you were walking on the sidewalk and the Pizza Hut delivery driver came up over the curb and hit you with his car, breaking your leg. And then he drove off, but you were able to get a partial license plate number and identify the car as a Pizza Hut delivery vehicle. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And what state and city did this happen in? You mentioned earlier it was around Notre Dame in the Michiana area, so I'm guessing Indiana, but I just want to confirm.
Yeah, Indiana was somewhere between Sutphen and Niles. Again, I could pinpoint it on a map.
Got it. So to confirm, the accident happened in the state of Indiana, and the city was somewhere between South Bend and Niles. I'll make a note of that. Did you ever lose consciousness as a result of the accident?
Not so much lost consciousness because I had to call for ambulance, and I was lying there just in pain when the ambulance came and picked me up.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That must have been a really scary and painful experience for you. Since the accident, have you experienced any headaches, memory issues, or sensitivity to light?
Once in a long while, I faint. I don't know if that has anything to do with that. I kind of hobble slightly, just a little bit. It's easy for, you know what they say when your light kind of can tell when a storm is coming? I've kind of got that problem. So, my leg's just a little extra sensitive sometimes when it shouldn't be. Sometimes I get bursitis in my knee and stuff, and I don't know what I could have done to have strained my knee. So it's kind of that sort of issue that just causes me to feel a little off. Yeah.
It sounds like you've been experiencing some lingering effects from the accident, like sensitivity to changes in the weather, and some physical issues like bursitis in your knee. Did you have any injuries because of the accident? Like I mentioned earlier, you had a broken leg. Can you tell me more about the specific injuries you sustained?
Yeah, sure. X-ray just showed a compound fracture in the knee and the surrounding area on the upper end of the knee. Because it really was pretty broken back then. So it was above the knee and the knee mostly that was damaged. And then they just had to put in a cast. I had to stay in the hospital. It took a while to get back under control. They had to put a temporary pin series in it. So it was pretty blasted expensive.
I'm so sorry to hear that. It sounds like you had a really severe injury with a compound fracture in your knee and surrounding area, and that required some extensive medical treatment, including a cast and temporary pins. That must have been really painful and stressful for you. Can you go into a bit more detail about the pain you experienced and are still experiencing because of your injuries?
Yeah, it's just, sometimes I'll want to get back to hiking because now I live out in Seattle, and I want to get out hiking in the hills and stuff, and I wind up with just too much pain in my leg. Even though I'm just hiking straight up a hill, I don't really know what I'm doing, but it doesn't really quite work as well as it used to, that's for sure. And it's even harder coming down. I don't know if you know, sometimes when you're stepping up a ladder, that's a problem. Well, it's not so bad as when I turn around and I step back down, then it's really, really painful. So climbing is easier, but then I have the hard part about getting back down.
It sounds like the injuries you sustained in the accident are still having a significant impact on your daily life, especially when it comes to activities you enjoy like hiking. You're experiencing a lot of pain, especially when you're going downhill, and that's really limiting your ability to do the things you want to do. How have the injuries affected your day-to-day life since the accident?
Well, I have to make room for them. Once I went to work, the guy picked me up, and I rode in the car, and it was just hurting like mad. And it was hard to get out of the car and straighten my leg out and then go into work. And then the next thing I knew, I was calling my wife because I could barely sit or stand. I was kind of like walking along the side of the wall, just telling people, don't say anything. I'm going to scream. I'm going to scream. And I just had to call my wife, and, it felt like it took her forever to pick me up, even though it really didn't. But sure enough, I kind of was stuck, and a chiropractor was trying to help, and a knee brace guy, support guy, but I didn't have a lot of money to go through another surgery or anything again. Wasn't covered for insurance, unfortunately, to be able to do something like that. I wasn't.
I'm so sorry to hear that. It sounds like the injuries have really impacted your daily life, making it hard for you to even go to work or do simple tasks without being in a lot of pain. And it's frustrating that you didn't have the financial resources to get the additional medical treatment you needed, like surgery.
How's that for crazy? This whole system has existed in the form it is now for 7 weeks only. It did not exist like this 2 months ago. The version of the system that used to exist, the versions that are out there, were weaker. Now, this is as bad as it's ever going to be, and it's only going to get better with every passing day. We need to get in, we need to latch on, we need to use it because it allows us to do all the stuff that was hard to do, all the cold calling, all the connecting, all of the pre-qual, which changes how much everyone gets paid. And so, what now? What do we have to do to make this work? What is the vehicle we should use moving forward? And how does everybody fit into this? And how can people fit into this faster? All of that is coming up in the next video. So if you're keeping up, and your head's spinning over all this, yeah, don't stop here. This is the beginning. All right.